episode of Three Average Guys Reviews, we're going to be doing the ultimate sub $100 mini red dot challenge.
So why are we doing this? Since the advent of the Micro T1, they've become super Gucci. Many of the other companies have decided to introduce their own micro red dot. Every week, the shooting community gets hundreds of these in the mail, and they all have red dots in them. And they're all cheap, and most of us, because we believe they're crap. And to be honest, nobody's gonna shell out the 50 or 60 bucks to find out that it is a piece of junk. So we've kind of bitten the bullet for you. There are good reviews out there for one or two of these, but most of them will say this site is good because I bought it and it's better than all the others, and they have nothing really to back it up.
So in this episode, we're going to attempt to do an accuracy, reliability, and durability test of each of these optics. We're going to attempt to zero at 25 yards with 12 rounds. Then we're going to shoot these with various calibers to check the durability of them with 9mm, 45, 12 gauge, 308, 7.62 by 54. And after all that's conducted, we're going to do a drop test and then a dunk test or submersion test in water to see if all their seals hold.
The first test is packaging test. The reason we were going to go and check the packaging is they've skimped on the packaging. What else are they going to skimp on? Is the packaging reusable? Can you store the sight in that packaging? Is it vibrant? Does it stick out from the rest? And general chintziness. The FM Optics model number AMD20S Micro Mini Dot was purchased from the Sportsman's Guide for $69.99 and sourced through Amazon.com. It is made in China. The FM Optics comes in a plastic clamshell held together by a staple. It is easy to open and is fairly reusable. Inside the clamshell is a piece of cardboard, and inside the cardboard is the instructions on a piece of paper in English, and on the back side is your 1-year limited warranty. An Allen key is held inside the clamshell and contains the scope and D-style rubber lens covers. In 7th place, we have the FM Optics, which is literally one of the cheapest here. And why it rates in 7th is because it's very easy to open. It's held together with a staple. You can easily see the scope inside. There is no product information other than the basics, that it's a 20mm tube, etc. But it's a plastic clamshell, so it's getting our 7th place on this. It's a very sparse. There's nothing to it. I don't think they spent $1 on it. So that's our 7th place. The Barska 1x20mm red dot compact rifle scope cost $58.83 and was sold through Amazon.com. It is model number AC11428 1x20 made in China. The box is a lightly constructed box with an outer box with a sleeve that slides in that contains everything. Inside the box, everything is smushed into the box, pressed to the bottom, around the scope itself. Comes with a plastic baggie containing an Allen key, the scope itself, which is in bubble wrap, a registration card, a 1-year limited warranty, and directions. A fairly standard lens cleaning swatch with Barska's name on it, and a T.A.G.R. battery, which is not a spare. They just packaged it separately from the scope. We're going to go with the 4th place of the Barska. The box isn't as heavily constructed, and there is no padding inside, but they at least tried, put all the information of the item on the outside of the box, so if you were to stock this on your shelf at a store, that this would get someone's attention. So it's 4th place for us.
next thing we looked at was the initial appearance, what the item looked like when we took it out of the box. What did it come with? Did it look like it was a big bag of crap? Did it come with any extra equipment such as scope cap covers, cleaning rags, anything like that? Was there any warranty? Where was it made?
Initial observations of the FM is it is one of the smaller of the group, which is not saying much because it's by millimeters, but it is only slightly smaller than the rest, but it is the smallest of the pack. The battery goes inside the brightness control. The brightness control has 11 intensities with a 0 or off position. On the left hand side is the FM logo, and elevation and windage is on the top and right. The front lens construction is almost identical to most of the other models, and so is the rear lens construction. The mounting or base is intact to the body and is put into place by a Allen key, or held in tension by a Allen key. The D-style, as always, it came with a D-style rubber lens cover. The wide front lens cover completely covers the front lens, whereas the rear one just slides over the rear and is held in place by tension of the rubber straps. 7th place is the FM Optics, and the reason we gave it 7th place isn't for any quality issue. Like I said, from 2nd place, which is the Bushnell, till 7th place, it was really hard to find any kind of quality issues. They all seemed to be very well constructed. They didn't have any burrs or anything hanging off of them. They all seemed to be constructed either with the same parts or in the same parts family. The knobs were the same, etc. The nuts and screws were almost identical. So it was really hard to come about who was worse or who had something above the rest. And the reason we gave FM Optics was completely aesthetic. The knob is on top, which you could fight for the reason why it's not 3rd, because the Bushnell's is on top, but the Bushnell's is at a 45. The FM Optics is right up top, and we felt that if we needed to adjust the brightness of the scope, that reaching all the way over the top of the rifle to do so, instead of just reaching up to the left or right of the gun with either your support hand and change the knob, was reason why we gave it 7th place. Other than that, there's really nothing that distinguishes it or doesn't distinguish it from the group. It's very well constructed and we liked it. It's just the knob was on top and we felt that was an extra 1.5 inches to reach than the rest of them, which had the knobs on the left or right hand side, excluding the Bushnell, which is at a 45 degree, but it is still on the right hand side. Initial observations of the Barska is the light intensification knob is on the right hand side. It goes to 11. The T.A.G.R 2032 goes inside the knob, which is fairly standard with all of them. The windage and elevation is on the top and right hand side. The lens construction is almost identical to most of them. It seems to be a common manufacturer. Same thing with the rear lens construction. It seems fairly decent. The lens coating is a ruby coloration. The mounting is tightened through an Allen key. The mount is solid to the body of the sight. It comes with equal length lens covers, not the D style. The wider side slips over the front lens cover, and with most, the rear lens cover just slides over the back and is held in place by the tension of the rubber straps. The Conus, the Barska, and the Bresser, especially the Barska and the Bresser, all seem to come from the same manufacturer as far as the body goes. The lens assembly is identical. The body construction is identical. The mounting to the Picatinny rail and the elevation and windage on the Bresser and Barska are identical. The only thing that sets the Conus apart from the Bresser and the Barska is that the intensification knob and the windage is on the left hand side, and that the mounting knob is quite large, whereas the Barska and the Bresser use a Allen key to tighten. The Conus uses a flathead or your hand. The Barska is $58 over the Bresser $99. And from what we can tell, it is the most generic of the scopes that we were vying for 4th place. So the reason we gave the Barska 6th place is, like I said, the most generic of those three, the Conus, the Bresser, and the Barska. The base is manufactured to the body. There's almost nothing that distinguishes it from the rest. The only thing that we can tell is the box says it's 2 MOA, so if the Bresser is like 5 MOA, I don't know why you're getting charged $99 because the Barska is $58. But we'll get to that when we start doing the actual comparison. The Barska was just the most generic of the bunch that we're vying for 4th place, so that's why it got 6. There's nothing wrong with it, it's just 6th place. The FM sight has almost, I didn't notice any ghosting, even at the highest settings. What I did find was that that's 1, that's 2, it's on, it's just very hard to see, which would be great for night vision, I'm guessing, but for daytime shooting, the lower settings are extremely low, so either that was on purpose, or the LED just isn't bright enough, even for indoors, but it is a very fine point. I believe this is 3 MOA. I will make sure. That's 9, that's 10, and that's 11. The FM red dot will also co-witness, but again, it sits very low to the iron sights. It seems to be a very fine point. Some of the 5 MOAs are very large, and the FM seems to be a very fine point. This setting is at 7, which is almost its full brightness, and it is a very fine point. It will co-witness, but like I said, it sits low to the iron sights. With a riser, it sits too high. It will sit in a co-witness, but it sits low. 7 was the FM. It's just very fat. It's not the MOA of the dot. It's just it's the lowest one of the group. The Barska also sits very low to the sight picture, but co-witnessed. It has the finest dot that I've seen. It's very fine, even at its highest setting, which is 11. At the lower settings, you can barely make it out. That's at setting 1, which I understand it's supposed to be a 2 MOA, but as far as quick acquisition, I can barely find it here in the camera. It sits low. The Barska, like I said, is a 2 MOA, or claims 2 MOA, and right now I have it on setting 1. You can barely, it's not even visible. Setting 2, 4, it starts becoming visible, at least on the camera. That's 5 again. There's 4, very fine. 6, 7, 8. I've noticed that the Barska is having, if it's not exactly on 8, it'll shut off. Like here's 9, I have to fidget with. There it is. I don't know what's wrong, but this is going to be an issue. Inconsistent lighting. 10, 11. It's a very clean dot. There's no ghosting, which I find because it's probably not bright enough to have ghosting occur, but the LED seems to be very clear. This is at 11, the highest setting. I just find that on some of these, when you turn the knob, they don't particularly light up. 9 being a big issue. There it goes. It's just temperamental, or the contacts. There's something wrong with the contacts inside. But this is the first failure we found so far of any of the sights. The Barska has an extremely fine point, and it is clean, and it would have rated first place, but with the issues of the knob not being able to hold or being inaccurate as far as are the 9, 8, and 9 settings, either working or having to fidget to get them to work, and that's that's a reliability issue and not so much sight picture, but it definitely has something to do with the sight, with the dot itself. So with it coming in and out and generally being inconsistent, we put it down at the 6 mark.
Raise your weapon. Raise your weapon. And it's over. How does it feel now to watch it